Riggedy, riggedy, wreck! Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa!
Hey, so if you're a new viewer, on this channel I cover many more topics of lost media, from lost films to shows, you name it. And if you like what you see, then I do hope you consider to subscribe to the channel to join me covering more missing projects. And hey, who knows, perhaps eventually I can convince my parents that this may be a viable career. Hopefully. Ugh. Right, let's get into things. Christian Weston Chandler is for many a legend on the internet, gathering a huge following, being based on the foundations for not really the right reasons. Now I'm sure for everybody watching this video, you all know the story of Chris, but just for the selected few that have never heard of Chris Chan, or Sonichu, or the Dimensional Merge, there's really quite a bit to explore. A short rundown on the history of Chris, you'd need at least 2 hours to spare. But I'll try to at least summarise it within a chapter of this video. If you're already up to snuff about Chris Chan or you don't care, then skip to this point in the timestamp. But I think context is always important, so here we go. Born in 1982, Chris Chan had resided within the state of Virginia, living with his parents for nearly his whole life. As a small child, Chris Chan's parents noticed that his behaviour was not like other children, which eventually led to Chris Chan being diagnosed with autism. By the year 2000, Chris created the character Sonic Chu for a school project, which, unsurprisingly, is a combination of Sonic and Pikachu. Chris Chan saw his derivative creation as the pride of his work. By March of 2005, he would create a comic book storyline, being called and initially about Sonichu, but very quickly divulge into Chris Chan's life, with the comic books being issued online. Only by October of the same year, internet goers had discovered and developed a unique curiosity on Chris Chan's work. In 2007, his followers, or trolls, whatever term you prefer, by using the Encyclopedia Dramatica, made a Wikipedia entirely dedicated to Chris Chan, taking any niche information known about Chris at the time. Gradually, more and more articles would grow about Chris, where today it would give historians of the British royal family a run for their money on the amount of information that's available. If Chris is not the most documented human in history, then Chandler has to at least be the most documented within living memory. Chris has been rather naive on the internet, as countless trolls would falsely lead him, impersonating to be either girlfriends or employees of Nintendo and Sega, to either squeeze out more information or embarrassing videos of Chris Chan.
Electric Hedgehog power! This would be me in my super mode. If I actually had the superpowers.
Most of it was quite damning and personal information about Chris Chan and his family. Unfortunately for Chris, what he never quite learned, what you post on the internet may indefinitely stay on the internet.
I want everything about my house off the internet! I'll send in detectives, I'll send in police, I'll send in everything in my power to get it off the internet!
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Yes.
Shut that goddamn thing off.
In late 2011, at the age of 84, Bob Chandler, his father, passed away. Trolls decided that it'd be better off to leave Chris Chan alone, as things weren't the same as they used to be anymore. In 2014, despite the disapproval from her mother, Chris Chan came out as a transgender lesbian. Followers of Chris have got a lot of extreme feelings and opinions towards her, as is she really trans? As she had a heavy dislike on the LGBT community, even being represented in the Sonichu comic books. While she's claimed that she's changed as a person over the years, people pointed out that she once said that the only reason she transitioned was that she believed that it was more likely that she could attract lesbians, as since her early 20s, Chris Chan has been longing for a girlfriend, and once before she pretended to be Sonichu for an entire year, bringing questions as to how serious she is claiming that she's a woman. She legally changed her name to Christine Chandler, but still doesn't mind being called Chris, as long as you use her female pronouns, which that's what I'm going to go by for the rest of the video. Agree to disagree, I'm just here to deliver the facts. By the mid-2010s, it was quite clear that there was an increasingly number of people that were observing her, that were making sure that she was stably safe, as really Chris Chan had no one else to fall back on. Her mother wasn't going to be around forever, and despite her playful and childlike persona, just really lacked the mental maturity to take on her own responsibilities. April of 2019, first announced on Chris Chan's Twitter page was a link to a Kickstarter. The project in question was a documentary titled Chris Chan versus the Internet, created by then film student Joseph Draff. Included on the page was a trailer.
I wasn't aware of all that was going on at first.
Additionally presented in the trailer was the back head of a brunette girl, which many theorised and later confirmed to be Megan. Megan Schroeder was an old friend of Chris, originally befriending one another at a game club located in a store called The Game Place. There was a nice sincere friendship between the two of them. Egotistical Chris wanted more, but Megan wasn't interested in pursuing any kind of romantic relationship with anybody. She told Chris early on to ensure that things wouldn't get awkward between the two of them. But despite this, Chris perceived forwards, getting into the same things as Megan and writing her into her Sonichu storyline. Additionally, unwantedly was touching her physically at the game place. Megan would have to increasingly get more blunt with Chris. The friendship finally ended once Megan found out that Chris drew an obscene image of her. Megan was very well Chris's last physical friend, and last real person she generally had an interest in, barring her parents or any internet goers. Despite the strained relationship between Chris and Megan, Megan conducted the idea for the documentary to reunite with Chris. But the director Draft felt that this may have been a bit too corny for the documentary and possibly dangerous. Eventually, Megan requested for all of her scenes to be removed in the final edit. As to why exactly has never been verified, meaning if her request was granted, there are two different versions of the film. The Kickstarter was observed with scrutiny, questioning the $20,000 price tag for an already completed film. On the site there was hardly any information about the film, nor how the money would be spent. The Kickstarter was updated, clarifying that the budget would be going into conducting more interviews from other Chandler family members and various YouTubers that discuss about Chris Chan. The only one seemingly confirmed to be interviewed was Jimmy Samuel, responsible for the ongoing series Chris Chan: A Comprehensive History. Only after 2 days later, 15 backers and £429, or about $578, the Kickstarter was cancelled. Over time, Joseph Draft became concerned on the amount of unwanted attention that was being drawn towards the project, and knowing of the notorious trolling that Chris Chan went through way back in the day, was fearful as to what consequences may emerge post the movie's release if wary trolls would try to dox him, releasing private information about Joseph. The stress gradually got too much. By November of 2020, he smashed up the hard drive with the only known copy of the film. Aside from the trailer and a leaked intro of the film, unless any other copies were backed up, the film may indefinitely be lost forever. This is a fascinating and unfortunate lost project for many Christorians, as out of all the competently made Chris Chan documentaries, this is the only one that Chris Chan is directly involved with, alongside possibly the rest of her family members. It was especially surprising for longtime followers of Chris for Megan to be involved, as to date her speaking in the trailer is still the only audio we have of Megan, and that's probably as much as we'll ever get, as Megan has no desire to get back onto the Chris Chan stage. It may be the end of Chris Chan versus the internet, but it's far from the end of the Chris Chan tale. Over the years, many people have tried to help Chris to self-improve and get a clear future, but as always with these sort of commitments, you need to meet these helpless individuals halfway. Chris Chan never had the motivation to self-improve on herself. Countless times over the decade pointed towards Chris just being a lost cause. But a fella by the name of Joshua Moon, or better known online as Null, he first became involved with Chris's life after finding out that the Idea guys had scammed Chris over an estimated $6,000. Him and Chris's relationship have been on and off, but in 2021 they reconcile, and Null acted as a caretaker to Chris, setting up plans for assistant living once her mother, Barbara Chandler, passes away. Additionally conducting a GoFundMe page to attend the My Little Pony convention Everfree Northwest, making sure Chris Chan was on track, fulfilling the gifts and rewards on the GoFundMe. Things seemed hopefully optimistic. Perhaps the first step of Chris Chan being completely self-employed. On July 29th, 2021, audio leaked between a conversation with Isabella and Chris Chan, alleging that Chris had slept with her mum. It's possible that the intercourse wasn't even consented by Barb to begin with. Within the following week, things just came crashing down. An emergency order by the authorities was that Chris Chan had to vacate her house, meaning that she was not only banned from her house, but was not allowed to get in contact with her mother. Noel cut all ties with Chris after discovering that she secretly transferred money from Barb's account to her own, essentially stealing. The GoFundMe money was refunded, she was banned from the pony convention, and finally arrested on the alleged nature of incest. If found guilty, she's going to be looking at a 10-year jail sentence. The news broke mainstream. At the time of recording, the investigation is still going on, with there currently being a lot of suspicion against Bella, who her dirty laundry came to light after her known involvement with Chris Chan, allegations of her harassing individuals, with one of them leading to suicide, and harming and killing animals, as well as being suggested that she may have manipulated Chris into doing what she did. She was going to attend the convention with Chris alongside a young autistic woman, where Isabel was going to film both autistic people in a very private union and would have later used that as blackmail. Like I said, the full consequences have been yet to be set in stone at the time of recording, but certainly the days of seeing Chris Chan as an innocent lost soul are going to be permanently gone now. There will always be people fascinated with Chris's life, but with the possibility that she may have to register as a sex offender, there are going to be far less people that are going to be willing to give her a hand. Chris's dreams of finding the ideal partner, starting a family, creating the next Sonic the Hedgehog were likely never a realistic possibility. Chris both had the absolute worst exposure online, and then by consequence had the absolute best, as so many people genuinely felt sorry and wanted to help Chris. But the only true way anybody can help you is that you must first help yourself. She could never separate both her playful fantasies and her responsibilities for reality. In 2015, Sachimo did the first comparable documentary about Chris Chan. He perfectly concludes the legacy of Chris Chan by comparing her to a crashing train. It's a disaster unfolding in front of all of us. We're powerless to stop it. There's nothing left to do but just watch the impact.
We're going to cry.